everyone, and welcome back to Cooking from Quarantine. I've been gone for quite a while because in June I got the Rona. I did. I got COVID. It totally sucked, and even though I was only really badly sick for about 2 weeks, the exhaustion stayed. So I haven't been feeling up to doing much of anything actually, but cooking I have picked back up again, and I wanted to show you all a great little dish that is easy, healthy, and is a way of cooking fish without stinking up your home or apartment, and we all love that. So what I have today are two really gorgeous salmon fillets. This is sockeye salmon, which is why the color on them is so beautiful. It doesn't seem like our friends at Fresh Direct did the best job in the world of taking the bones out of it, so, well, I can't even grab them. Oh well, that happens. It's this is a dish of salmon cooked in parchment paper. So what you'll need for this dish is parchment paper and salmon, obviously. Little baby Yukon Gold potatoes. You can use any kind of potato. I happen to like these Yukon Golds for this dish just because they have a lot of really good flavor to them, and they have like a really good creaminess that I like a lot, but use whatever potatoes you have in the house. We're going to be using, if I can find where I put the rest of my leek, I had leftover leeks in the house, so I'm going to be using leeks. But you can use onion if you'd like, you can use scallions, that would be great, chives would be great, any kind of onion-like shallots even would be fine. And if you don't have any of that, but you do have garlic, use the garlic, it's fine. We're also going to be using kosher salt, pepper, and Olive Oil Jones olive oil, which I'm still not being paid to shill for, but I really do love their products. This one is extra virgin olive oil from Spain. I love Spanish olive oil. I think it tastes better than Italian olive oil. Sorry. So what we're going to do today is we're going to get started by slicing our potatoes as thin as humanly possible. It's really, really important that these are like as paper thin as you can get, because they're going to cook underneath our salmon, which means they're going to cook at the same time as our salmon. And potatoes usually take a while to cook, and fish takes like no time to cook. So we're trying to get these potatoes as easily cookable as possible. So you're gonna have a pile of potatoes to work with. I find that like 3 of like this size potato works per fillet, so that's what I've been using. You grab a piece of parchment paper, unfold it like so. I love Reynolds. Why Reynolds? They're not paying me either. I love that Reynolds is now making these like cookie sheet size pieces of parchment paper. It's like the best. So what we're going to do is make a little bed on our parchment paper of potatoes. See, we're gonna line them up, and it's okay if they overlap a little bit, and it's really okay if like some of them are thinner and some of them are thicker, because you know what? We're home cooks and that shit happens. So, you know, everybody can deal with it. If they don't like it, go eat at somebody else's house. If you want my cooking, you gotta kind of deal with all of my shortcomings. So we're gonna make this bed of potatoes that we will be delicately laying our salmon over. And this is a super quick dish. So now that people are like sort of back in the world a little bit more and have like hectic days, or, you know, at least the working from home is getting like a little bit more productive, I find that I'm sort of like, I have weeks where I'm really into it and weeks where I'm like, no, this is still a pandemic and everything is horrible. So, you know, that's just the way, it's the way the Rona's been treating me lately. So, okay, so we have this perfect little bed of potatoes, and we're going to season the potatoes before we put anything else on top of them, just so that we know that they taste super duper yummy. So There's some kosher salt, and this is like not a lot of kosher salt. Like I'm talking a really big pinch, which is like less than half a teaspoon. We're gonna drizzle olive oil over our potatoes so that they get nice and crispy. And then we're gonna take one salmon fillet and put it on top of one bed of potatoes and one salmon fillet and put it on top of the other bed of potatoes. Oh, you know what? I forgot to put I put pepper on these. I didn't put pepper on these ones. Huh. Let's take that salmon back. Try not to get fish juice on our pepper mill. Ground black pepper, always freshly ground, please. There were other stuff that's pre-shredded, tastes like sawdust. Okay, now we can put our salmon down on our potatoes. Okay, so our salmon is almost ready to roll. This dish is so easy, I swear. You're going to take your leek, and leeks are filthy. So you're going to have to cut both ends off of your leeks and really get in there and wash the leaves when you do it. This I already did, but they hold like dirt. Leeks hold dirt like I hold a grudge, and it's pretty serious. So you're going to finely chop your leeks or your onions or your garlic or your shallots or your scallions. I couldn't think of the word for scallion just now, and in my mind I said, is it called Skinamax? Is that what it's called? No, it's not. That's not the word. Okay, so we're going to chop like, this is kind of by taste. So leeks are a delicate and sophisticated flavor, so I'm using kind of a lot. If I were using onion, I would use like a quarter of an onion chopped up. So we're going to now move this out of the way so I can show you what we're doing. We're going to drizzle our fish with olive oil. It's a very weird way to hold this bottle, but that's what we're doing. We're going to season our fish with a little bit of salt, less than we used on the potatoes. I would say less than a quarter teaspoon of salt will do you. We'll get you where you're trying to go. A little more fresh ground black pepper. This side. And what's really cool about this dish is everybody gets their own little pouch when you serve it. So not only is it super easy and it makes it so that your house isn't stinky from cooking fish because you close up this little pouch, but you know, it's like a cool presentation too. It looks like you put some thought into the food that you're making. You're gonna sprinkle your leeks on top of the fish. Just get it, you know, pretty evenly distributed. You can put it on the potatoes that are sticking out the sides too, because potato and leek is like super yummy. That's why we have like a soup called potato leek soup. It's because it's a nice little combination. So you're going to keep sprinkling, just make sure that every bite of salmon would have some leek to it, you know? And I should mention that we have our oven preheating. It should be preheating to 350 degrees, but I happen to be roasting vegetables, so it's at 400 right now. But I will be turning it down to 350 degrees. You know what? I'm gonna do that now so that I don't forget. Because I can smell that the veggies in there smell really good, like they're almost ready. Okay, so we have finished the cooking and assembling portion of this almost. So we have our two little pouches that need to be made. And what you're gonna do is just start folding up the outside of your parchment paper just around the fish and potatoes. And it doesn't have to be pretty and it doesn't have to be professional. It just has to be like as closed as we can make it. Like, don't staple the thing, don't start getting out like the hot glue gun, but we want this more closed than not, because the idea is the juices of the salmon and the potatoes and all of the olive oil that's in there are sort of going to poach the salmon like in its own flavors. And so you want to have these pretty airtight when they go into the oven, because that's how your salmon is going to stay like moist and juicy and delicious and not dry out from, I mean, effectively baking it. Because baked salmon can get pretty dry. So we're just going to make sure we fold up these little pouches. And so also the pouches stop the salmon smell from getting into like your curtains and walls and couch and family members and, you know, all the other things that you prefer not to have smell like salmon. So our oven is preheated to 350. These pouches are, well, this one is not secure. We have an insecure pouch. We all get a little insecure sometimes, particularly about our pouches. Okay, now this looks pretty nice and sealed. And so we're going to put this into a 350 degree oven for 30 minutes, no more, no less, and it will come out perfectly. You don't have to like worry about like, do you think it's cooked? Like, I wish I could crack open the parchment. Don't worry about it. It's going to be cooked all the way through. Fish cooks quickly, and even just sitting in its own heat when you take it out, it's going to keep cooking. So you're not going to undercook the fish. And actually, if you do undercook the fish, which you're not going to do, even if you did that, it's like not the end of the world. Undercooked fish is like the thing now. So we're going to put this in the oven, 350 degrees, 30 minutes in the paper. Don't worry, it's not going to scorch, trust me. And I will meet you back here when we take them out of the oven to show you what they look like. See you soon. Welcome back. So our fish is out of the oven. It came, see the parchment not scorched at all, perfect condition. So all you do is take your spatula, lift it up off of the pan and put it right onto a plate. That's how you plate it. So everyone sits down and has their own little personal fish pouch that they get to open up, and it's like, ooh, the element of surprise. So this is how the fish comes out. Really beautiful. You know, the nicer you plate it when it goes into the oven, the better it'll look when it comes out. And the potatoes around the sides are like creamy. Delicious, really flavorful. Use good olive oil. That's the trick. The fish flakes like really beautifully because the temperature is perfect. Super light, super flavorful. And the best part is the cleanup is like nonsense, because all you do is ball up the parchment, toss it